Hi, my name is Bill and I'm a college professor in Dallas, Texas. And today I have a piece that was written by one of our readers who does great research and likes to remain anonymous. So this person will remain anonymous. I don't know if you're following what's happening in public education in Oklahoma. You may have already seen that the state's new educational standards require public schools and teachers in effect to promote unproven, umpteen times unproven theories that the 2020 election was stolen from Donald Trump, claiming that he actually won it. Oklahoma high school students will be taught standards carefully tailored to convince them that the so-called discrepancies in the 2020 election are more than fact-free facts based on thought-free thoughts. Let's go back in time to another place. Let's imagine that we're in post-World War I Germany. Let's imagine that German high school students are not asked whether or not Germany would have won the war if they had been stabbed in the back, if they hadn't been, but instead, how many Jews took part in that stabbing. Now let's go forward to the crash of 1929 and the start of the Great Depression, which was framed as the fault of Jewish bankers manipulating the world's money supply. Again, fact-free facts based on thought-free thoughts. Except this time, the thought-free thoughts were actually full of thoughts about how easy it would be for the Nazis to gain support from ordinary Germans by blaming the usual suspects, in other words, the Jews. What they're actually doing in Oklahoma isn't exactly like what the Nazis did way back then or what Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and others have been doing since 2020. Instead of now flat out saying the 2020 election was stolen, they're telling Oklahoma students that doubting is part of critical thinking. He's telling them to look at non-existent evidence as if it actually exists, to start believing that all of the debunking is actually suppression of the truth by the third state. If teachers were actually forced to base their lessons on these proven false claims, it would amount to something called compelled speech, something which, by the way, the Constitution, the First Amendment, is pretty allergic to. Compelled speech begins with government action. Teachers will be compelled by laws to express the repeatedly discredited claims in the new standards. It's a violation of conscience. It's a violation of the Constitution. If you think, well, this is just some crazy thing that's happening in Oklahoma, ask yourself about Louisiana and the mandate that teachers put the 10 Commandments in their classrooms. I actually suggested, because I was teaching at a high school at the time that came out, I suggested to my Texas principal that if that becomes a thing in Texas, I would like mine in the original language, in Hebrew, for example, and we'll hang a Hebrew poster in the classroom as if students read what we put on the walls anyway. This is a violation of the First Amendment. This is extremely 1984 stuff. And we must speak out against this. Call your senators, call your representatives, especially if you live in Oklahoma. But let's just have a message because this is working. I promise you, I hear Republican senator after Republican senator say, all the phone calls coming, the angry people, because they're not holding town halls, they don't want to face their constituents. They are having an impact. They're actually tilting the balance in a little bit away from being scared of Trump and Musk and over to being afraid of constituents and not winning re-election. That's how we fight this peacefully. It's how we fight it effectively. Please take action today. And as always, thanks for watching.